Welcome, everyone. Today, we bring you another chilling true crime story. One that is real, disturbing, and impossible to forget. Every detail matters, and every moment leads closer to the truth. So stay connected with us till the end, because this story will change the way you see crime forever. In the fast-growing suburbs of North Texas, where new neighborhoods rose from empty land almost overnight, the dream of a custom-built home was powerful. Families imagined wide kitchens, bright living rooms, and carefully designed spaces that reflected years of hard work and savings. Into this dream stepped Christopher and Raquel Judge, a married couple who appeared to embody modern success. Through carefully curated social media posts, polished videos, and smiling selfies, they presented themselves as visionaries behind a luxury home building company called Judge DFW LLC. On TikTok and Instagram, Christopher spoke confidently about architecture and design, gesturing toward blueprints and construction sites. Raquel showcased interior decor ideas, color palettes, and before and after photos that promised transformation. Their brand was not just about houses, it was about lifestyle. They sold trust, ambition, and the feeling that clients were partnering with professionals who cared deeply about quality. To many, they looked like the real-life version of famous TV renovation stars. Families across the Fort Worth area believed them. They signed contracts, wired deposits, and waited eagerly for construction to begin. What they didn't know was that beneath the surface, the dream was already beginning to crack. At first, everything seemed legitimate. Christopher arrived at meetings dressed like a professional builder, speaking fluently about timelines, materials, and budgets. He claimed to be an architect, a title that carried authority and reassurance. Raquel managed communication smoothly, sending contracts, invoices, and friendly emails that made clients feel valued and secure. The judge's bids were often lower than competitors, which clients saw as a stroke of luck. Christopher explained that their efficiency and connections allowed them to keep costs down. He promised completion in 4 to 6 months, fast, but believable in a booming construction market. Once contracts were signed, clients were instructed to pay in installments. Payments were sent through wire transfers or checks to Judge DFW's business account. Each payment felt like progress, another step closer to a finished home. Some clients even posted excited updates online, tagging Judge DFW and thanking them publicly. But behind the scenes, the money was already being redirected. Funds meant for one project were quietly moved to other accounts, mixed with payments from different clients, and spent on personal expenses. The foundation of the scheme was set. Construction began on several projects, but progress was slow and inconsistent. Crews would appear for a few days, then disappear for weeks. Materials arrived late or not at all. When clients asked questions, Christopher always had an explanation. Supply chain issues, weather delays, permit problems, staffing shortages. At first, clients were patient. The pandemic had disrupted many industries, and delays felt understandable. But as weeks turned into months, patience gave way to concern. Some homeowners noticed obvious flaws: uneven flooring, poorly installed tiles, cracking walls. Others saw no progress at all, just empty sites and half-finished structures. When clients asked for refunds on unfinished work, the responses changed. Christopher claimed the money was already spent. Raquel reassured clients that work would resume soon, encouraging them to release the next payment so subcontractors could be paid. Each request came with urgency and reassurance, a careful balance designed to keep money flowing. For many victims, the realization came suddenly. One homeowner discovered that her kitchen floor was sinking. Another saw tile cracking within weeks of installation. A staircase in one home was found to be dangerously unstable, held together by minimal support. Code violations appeared everywhere. Independent inspectors and contractor friends were called in. Their assessments were devastating. Entire sections of framing had to be torn out and rebuilt. Electrical and structural work was unsafe. What was supposed to be a dream home had become a hazard. Emotionally, the damage was just as severe as the financial loss. Families had invested not only money but hope. Some had taken out loans or emptied savings accounts. Living in unfinished homes or paying rent while construction stalled added to the stress. Trust turned into anger, confusion, and fear. One of the most damaging revelations came when victims learned that Christopher Judge was not, in fact, a licensed architect. This single lie became a turning point. Being an architect is not just a title, it is a regulated profession designed to protect public safety. The Texas Board of Architecture issued a formal warning to Christopher and Judge DFW in 2022, stating that they had violated state regulations by falsely representing him as an architect. Despite this warning, the misrepresentation continued. For prosecutors, this lie was critical. Poor workmanship could sometimes be argued as a civil dispute. But pretending to be a licensed professional crossed a clear legal line. It demonstrated intent to deceive from the very beginning. As more clients compared experiences, a pattern emerged. Delays, excuses, poor work, and missing money were not isolated incidents. They were part of a larger scheme. Victims began connecting through local communities and social media groups, realizing they were not alone. Civil lawsuits were filed, but progress was slow. Many law enforcement agencies were hesitant to take on what initially looked like contract disputes. White-collar crime is complex, requiring time, expertise, and resources. Eventually, the case caught the attention of federal authorities. With the involvement of the FBI, the U.S. Secret Service, and a determined local police department, the scope of the fraud became clear. Federal investigators traced wire transfers, bank records, emails, and social media posts. The evidence painted a stark picture. From August 2020 to January 2023, Christopher and Raquel Judge defrauded more than 40 victims across multiple counties in North Texas. The total loss exceeded $4.8 million. Payments from one client were used to partially fund another project, while large sums were diverted for personal use. Luxury purchases, cash withdrawals, legal fees, and even cosmetic surgery were paid for with client money. The indictment outlined a clear conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Social media was not just a marketing tool, it was an essential part of the scheme. While Christopher was the public face of construction and design, Raquel played a critical operational role. She scheduled meetings, explained contracts, collected deposits, and maintained online engagement. Her posts in local Facebook groups targeted families and working parents, presenting Judge DFW as a trustworthy, community-based business. Screenshots of these posts were later included in court filings, showing how carefully the image was cultivated. Prosecutors argued that Raquel was not a passive participant, but an active conspirator who helped keep the fraud running smoothly. Faced with overwhelming evidence, both Christopher and Raquel Judge entered guilty pleas to conspiracy to commit wire fraud. The plea deals reflected different levels of responsibility and potential punishment. Raquel faced up to 5 years in federal prison. Christopher, as the primary figure and false architect, faced up to 20 years, though sentencing guidelines suggested a lower range. The court also ordered restitution, requiring the couple to repay millions to their victims. While full recovery was unlikely, the judgment represented acknowledgement of the harm caused. Experts analyzing the case pointed out familiar patterns. Fraud often begins with ambition and spirals into deception. Lies require more lies to survive. Some fraudsters are quiet and discreet, others are bold and public. The judges fell into the latter category. Their visibility and confidence attracted clients quickly but also left a clear digital trail. Social media amplified both their success and their downfall. One of the most important lessons from the case is the distinction between a failed business and criminal fraud. Not every bad contractor is a criminal. Fraud requires intent to deceive at the moment money is taken. In this case, false claims of professional credentials, below-market bids designed to lure clients, and misuse of funds demonstrated that intent clearly. For victims, the end of the criminal case did not mean the end of hardship. Many were left with unfinished or unsafe homes. Some spent years rebuilding, both financially and emotionally. Support networks formed among victims, offering advice, shared resources, and emotional support. While money could not erase the trauma, accountability brought a measure of closure. The case serves as a warning for homeowners everywhere. Verify credentials. Be cautious of unusually low bids. Monitor progress closely. Demand transparency in how funds are used. Trust is essential in any construction project, but blind trust can be dangerous. Social media can build businesses, but it can also build illusions. Carefully staged images and confident videos can hide serious problems. The Judge DFW case shows how easily perception can be manipulated. Digital footprints, however, are permanent. In the end, the same platforms that helped sell the dream helped prosecutors prove the fraud. The story of Christopher and Raquel Judge is not just about money. It is about broken trust, shattered dreams, and the consequences of deception. What began as a promise of beautiful homes ended in federal prison sentences and financial ruin. For the victims, justice came late, but it came. For others watching from the outside, the case stands as a powerful reminder. When something looks too perfect, it deserves a closer look.